Hello friends, welcome to my classroom. And today in philosophy, we have the topic of logic and epistemology, and the subtopic would be logic and other sciences. This is very important topic, friends. So we'll go through this in this session. I have also created in my previous video topic on the same session. I have also discussed about the nature of logic, and you might want to look into that to see what are the basics of logic and all, to find some of the fundamentals about the logic. Okay, let us move forward. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing to my channel, and if you like the content, please comment, share and like. And if you have any questions in my session, please do comment. I will also provide the links to my previous sessions in the description portion of this video. Now let us see the objective of this session. The objective of this session is to discuss and know about the logic and its relation with other subjects. Logic and other sciences. Guys, before we go ahead, I just want to tell you I'm a flowchart guy. I will explain the concept using flowcharts and all. So I made these flowcharts myself to explain you the concept. This will be very useful for the people who are writing exams on related to philosophy subject. When we have a flowchart in our mind, it is easy for us to write an essay using that flowchart. Okay, guys, logic and other sciences. So logic has a relation with the mathematics, psychology, language, and jurisprudence. Now let us see how they are related. The first one is logic and mathematics. We have two sections here, logic and mathematics. I will show you the areas which are being shared between logic and mathematics. In the end, we will also see the differences. First commonality is deduction. You can see my previous video on this. There was a complete one slide we have made on deduction and induction logic. So you can just go through that. So let us see some points on deduction here. They start with certain primitive propositions and draw a deduction from them. What we are telling here is we have propositions. Proposition is a sentence which has a subject and a predicate and a copula. So it is just like it looks like a statement, okay, which confirms, which tells about something positively or negatively. Okay, okay. The method of both is a priori. So method of logic as well as mathematics is a priori. A priori means it will not consider any experience, any of that sort. Okay, it will take only the proposition and deduce something out of it. Empiricism is not being considered here in a priori method. Logical or mathematical operations may take place with reference to any material, but their knowledge is not gained by observation of this material. So here what we are saying is the knowledge is not gained by the experiences that we go through. The next one is formal science. So by formal science, what we mean is Both these sciences, logic and mathematics, they deal with the formal relation between propositions. The relation does not depend on content of the proposition. Okay, it doesn't care what it is. For example, if you are adding something in mathematics, if you are adding something, that means you are performing the operation of addition. In mathematics, you can add apples, you can add mangoes, you can add people, you can add whatever, you can perform addition operation on anything. Okay, so the content doesn't matter here. That's what we are saying here. This relation does not depend on content of the proposition. Okay, the content what we are using is not a matter here. The scope of logic is wider than that of mathematics as a third point. Okay, why? Because mathematics has limitations. You cannot apply mathematical operations on anything in this world. But on the other hand, we can apply logic to everything in this world. Okay, we any material, any kind of material, any kind of object. Okay, so it doesn't have any limitation like maths does. So we can say that the scope of logic is wider than that of mathematics. Let's move on. Next one is logic and mathematics are one branch of knowledge. Most of the philosophers they believe that logic and mathematics are one branch of knowledge. Okay, and they claim that logic is the earlier part and mathematics is the later part. And they use class relation. Both of them use class relation. Let us see this. Okay, now the entire system of mathematics has been explained in three basic concepts, that is class and being a member of class and similarity. Similarity is we apply numbers to things because there is similarity. Because suppose if you're talking about weight, and you will give a number to each of these persons like 54 kgs and 70 kgs, something like that. So both are expressed in numbers. Class is, you can say broadly, it's a category, any category. Suppose if you're talking about a class like a community or a religion or sex or whatever, you can create always create a class which contains members. So let's move on. We are going to see the relation between logic and psychology now. Okay, now logic versus psychology. Logic and the psychology both are concerned with knowledge. Okay, what do I mean by knowledge? Let us see. Logic deals with knowledge. Psychology basically deals with three things like feeling, willing, and knowledge. Psychology is known as reasoned account or science of mind. Basic functions of mind are feeling, willing, and knowing. But you can see logic deals with only knowledge. Okay, it doesn't deal with feeling and willing. Okay, to explain you more about feeling and willing, if a person writes an exam and if he is successful, he feels happy. So feeling is a function of mind, right? And after feeling happy, he want to pursue his studies further, you know. So that comes under part of willing. So feeling and willing are two of the functions of mind. Okay, knowing, obviously we know we will attain knowledge, we'll acquire knowledge by some means from books, from outer world or whatever, right? So that is all knowledge. And logic deals with only knowledge. Move on. Mediate knowledge. Here we are saying mediate knowledge. Let us see what it is. Okay. So logic deals with mediate knowledge, and psychology deals with both mediate and immediate knowledge. Mediate knowledge is nothing but the knowledge which is never perceived, okay, which comes from authority, testimony, inferences. So we have never seen that with our senses. And the immediate knowledge is something which we perceive using our sensory, like all five senses plus our mind. Logic and psychology, they deal with general knowledge. Let us see what it is. Logic deals with general knowledge, and the psychology deals with general as well as individual knowledge. So, logic doesn't deal with one person or individual. Now, logic and psychology, they deal with abstract knowledge. Let us see what it is. Logic deals with abstract knowledge, and psychology deals with both concrete and abstract knowledge. So, what do I mean by concrete knowledge? Concrete knowledge is already the knowledge you know it is true. Logic deals with only the abstract knowledge, like the things which are not clear to you, okay, or the things which you have never perceived in your life, okay. So that is the area. That is abstract knowledge is the area of logic. Now let us see some differences. The scope of the logic is relatively narrow. That means it has less scope than psychology. Why I'm saying so? If you look at the first point here, the knowledge, logic is dealing with only knowledge, and whereas psychology is dealing with feeling, willing, and knowledge. So, in the second point also, if you see, logic is only dealing with immediate knowledge, but psychology, on the other hand, it is dealing with more both the immediate and immediate knowledge. So one thing extra. So if you look at the right side column, you can observe that psychology is dealing with more things than logic. So the scope of psychology is relatively wider, and we can also say the scope of logic is relatively narrow. Okay, move on. Now we are going to see between logic and language. There is no logic without language. Logic doesn't exist at all without language. Logic needs language to express thoughts, reasoned thoughts. Okay, so it needs it needs a tool like language to express. Okay, so only higher animals like human beings have logic because they have language tool of language to express their thoughts. So we can say here logic is science of thought and language is science of language. The differences, logic is not interested in various distinctions of language, but only concerned with thoughts underlying them. So it deals with only thoughts underlying the sentences that we use as expressions. Thoughts underneath the sentences. On the other hand, we can see the primary concern of language is grammar. So it deals with grammar. Okay, let's move on. Now we are talking between logic and jurisprudence. Okay, logic and jurisprudence. Jurisprudence is nothing but the science of law. Okay, now let us see the commonalities. Okay, both are sciences. Both are sciences in the sense like what kind of sciences they are. The logic is science of reasoning, whereas jurisprudence is science of law. One more. Let us see one more point. See, this is very important point. That is, both work with inferences. We have discussed about inference in my previous video, and let me tell you again what is an inference. It is divided into two categories. Those are deduction and induction. On the other hand, the knowledge of reasoning is helpful. The when once we have something derived or inducted in logic, that kind of knowledge of reasoning is helpful for the study of jurisprudence. That's what we are saying. So they are interconnected. They are intimately related with this point. Okay. If you see, look at the differences. One is normative science, and the other one is positive science. Logic is normative science. You know what is a normative science or what is positive science. Okay, let me tell you again. Positive science is a science which studies the phenomena as it is. Okay, but on the other hand, normative science studies things as they ought to be. Okay, studies phenomena as it ought to be. Okay, so that is the difference, basic difference between a normative and positive science. Okay, and with that we come to an end in this session. Okay, and I hope you liked it. And I would suggest you to write down all these flowcharts in a notebook. That's all I have now in this session. And thank you very much for watching my video. And hope you liked it. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like, share, and comment. And if you have any questions, once again, please comment down below, and I would like to answer those questions as soon as I can. Thank you very much. Have a good day.